That is such an excellent point. It should be so obvious, but just as you were saying that, I'm thinking if I know I'm going to have surgery, or you're like, okay, well, I might as well just slough on it's almost like you give permission to let yourself go.
Did you push record?
Thanks so much for joining us today on Our Second Act with Paige and Silka. Today, our focus returns to health and fitness, and joining me again is Rachelle Brown. Rachelle, thanks so much for coming back on Second Act TV.
Thanks for having me. I'm so glad to be here.
Rachelle has been a frequent guest, and we will link to some of our previous segments. Today, well, first of all, Rachelle is a health and fitness writer. She's a regular contributor to NextAvenue and Active.com, and a certified personal trainer and health coach. And it's actually one of your platforms that I saw the article we want to talk about today about orthopedic injury and surgeries. A couple of my friends are going through that right now. I'm a runner, as you know, or well, a little
I know.
bit still. Getting less and less for the reasons that we're talking about today. We're more injury prone, and it gets very frustrating. And that's really what I want to address. People that are starting to actually feel their age or feel old. It doesn't have to be that way if we just get a little bit of good advice and preparation for one, starting again as we come out of winter and spring as we are right now, and then
Right.
having the right conversations with our physicians who may not be taking us quite as seriously as they did in our 20s and 30s.
Yeah, I think it really depends on the specific physician, of course, but a lot of it does come back to we need to be proactive about making sure that they understand that continuing to be active and, not just kind of staying where we're at, maybe even getting more fit is important to us. And I think if you can communicate that, then you can get a little bit better response from your physician or orthopedist.
Let's talk about the points that you made in your article. What are some key points to keep in mind, if we're facing an injury or surgery?
Yeah, I think probably the biggest point that didn't come through quite as much in the article, but that I really got from the interviews that I did was that if it's a surgery, so you know that it's coming up and you're planning for it, is to go into it being as fit and healthy as possible before you even start. So if you know a month or two out, that's not the time to cry for yourself and sit on the couch with a box of donuts. It's really like try to put on muscle, improve cardio function, whatever your thing is. The fitter that you can be going into the surgery, the quicker the recovery, and quite honestly, the better the prognosis for healing immediately following the procedure too.
That is such an excellent point. It should be so obvious, but just as you were saying that, I'm thinking if I know I'm going to have surgery, or you're like, okay, well, I might as well just slough on it's almost like you give permission to let yourself go.
Yeah.
That seems like that's the normal default, and that's absolutely wrong. Yeah, no.
Right. So I spoke with a pretty well-known physical therapist from out in New York, and she was saying that like the most important thing is to just do virtually anything. So any type of activity, anything that gets you moving again, whether you're exercising unaffected body parts or just as simple as going for a walk. If you have mobility, those kinds of things can help you maintain some of the fitness that you had or not lose as much of the fitness, but also helps with the healing process as well.
I know this, again, it sounds obvious, but let me just clarify. What exactly do you mean by unaffected body parts? Like, for example, hips. That this is something that more and more of us are, especially if we've been athletic, we're prone to hip replacement. What would be unaffected body parts that would help something like that?
So basically, it's anything that you can move that doesn't cause pain, and that you've been cleared to move. So another thing that I touch on in the article is to be in good communication with your care team so that you know what you can do and what you can't do. But so like for a hip, if you're getting a hip replacement or a surgery, you probably have unrestricted mobility of your upper body, the unaffected side of your body, so your other leg. The physical therapist that I spoke with had talked about some research showing that if you exercise one side of your body, that the other side actually reaps some of those benefits because some strength gains are neurological and not just physical. So if you have surgery on your left shoulder and you can keep doing exercises with your right arm, your left arm won't atrophy as much as it might otherwise. So those are all some examples. If you have a lower leg injury, you can probably do a lot of core stuff and certainly upper body exercises and vice versa. Shoulders, you can still be mobile and do leg exercises.
That's interesting because I had heard, and maybe it doesn't apply to upper body, but that you don't necessarily want to exercise. Like, does that pertain to legs too, or?
No, yeah. So for example, if you had, let's say a leg issue, a knee surgery on your left leg, you could still do some limited, let's say squats, chair squats, lunges, maybe some knee extensions, depending on, if you're cleared to do that with your other leg. That's going to obviously make that leg stronger, and you're already not using the other one, so you're going to notice some differences. But somewhere around, I believe it's 10 to 15% of the strength gains that we get, especially early on, are neurological and not physical. So there's some science out there that backs it up.
That's new information for me. So thank you. I
Sure.
like that.
Yeah.
Any other points that you want to discuss in the interview today? I will be linking to your article. I know you have links to specific
Mm-hmm.
information and exercises, so anybody can access that. But as we're coming to a close on this segment, what is something else important that you'd like to leave our viewers with who may be facing this?
I think the other big thing is to get creative. So that was my last point in the article, and to really ask yourself, what can I do? And to do everything that you can do. And even if it's crazy, I mean, years and years ago, I had bunion surgery on both my feet at the same time. So talk about not being mobile. But at the end of my 6-week recovery period, I had developed some phenomenal abdominal and upper body strength because that was what I could do at the time. And, I hadn't really been doing those exercises prior to the surgery. So it was an opportunity for me to work on that. And you can almost always find some things that you're able to do, even when you're laid up and you think, this is miserable, I'm not going to be able to move for weeks and weeks. It's not true. You'll always be able to find something.
Well, and attitude. That is just the biggest thing to remember. I mean, I know it's a lot easier said than done. I feel myself succumbing to that more and more often as I'm getting, more injuries, more stiffness. Start feeling sorry for yourself, and that doesn't help. And so I'm kicking myself in my own butt.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like when I turn 60, and it's no, it's not. It's all going uphill still. Thanks to people and advice like you, we're going to get creative and not succumb to that. Rachelle, I always love having you on. You are just very practical, science-based. You give us great advice, and I'll link to all of your information. I look forward to talking to you again soon on Our Second Act with Paige and Silka.
Great. Thank you.
For more information on getting fit after 50, please visit our website, secondact.tv, and be sure to subscribe to our channel. Button's right over here. See you next time.